All right. Thanks for coming. Today, we are going to talk about enhancing the job search with AI tools. I am Christy, career advisors here at WGU, and I actually have a colleague. Click Aaron is not here with me today, but I have another colleague that's here, Katie, and she is going to monitor the chat. So feel free to pop your questions in the chat as they come up. Um, Before we get content, I do want to kind of start with kind of going over some of just some housekeeping stuff. So we it's, so if you get up and leave, or if you're not able to stay for the whole presentation, don't worry about it. Got to take care of yourself first, and you will receive a recording at the end, probably today, depending on how long that takes. But I'll send that out as well as the links that I'm going to be providing as well. Um, so there are a couple of interactive polls. So if you have a mobile device or if you're near a computer, that would be great. We'd love to have you participate. Um, Really, if you are able to, sorry, somebody just popped the question up in the chat already. And it says, as WGU students, are there any AI systems that are free? And we're going to talk about that. There are a couple. Uh, Complexity is one. But not a free account yet. I hear that we're going to be getting one, but I'll talk about some tools that are included as part of W2. I do want to really quick make a note of this email address. So folks, if you do have a question, please pop it in the chat. I'll try to answer those, and Katie will also try to help as well. But save the email address, and I'll pop it here in the chat for you so that you can save it. Again, I'll be sending you an email at the end of this, probably by the end of the business day to, it'll come from, thanks Katie, it'll also come from the careers at WGU. Don't use the Q&A, please. We are not monitoring the Q&A. We will be using chat and not the Q&A panel. So if you do put your question in the Q&A, it might get missed. All right, so getting started here. This is my agenda. We have a couple of, I'm going to give you a really brief overview. This is kind of one of a series. We've done two of them already this month. Uh, so it might be a review if you've attended any of those other presentations that we have done. I'm going to go over briefly some resume optimization, and that is including a tool that you do have access to as a WGU student or an alumni. I'm going to go over some interview preparation AI tools, job match, which is something that is relatively new to my expertise. And honestly, I'm still learning alongside with you as the technology is evolving. And then I'm going to go over at the end, we'll talk about like a recap and some time to have a little bit of discussion depending on how much time we have. All right. So before we jump into content, I'm really curious if you've attended any of the WGU AI workshops. So we had the beginning of Career Quest, we had an AI in your job search, and then we also had a nail your interview. Um, it was more of like a working session. So I'd love for you to respond. I see Miguel did it in the chat, but if you could respond in this Slido, you can go to slido.com and use that hashtag 108817, or you can just take a picture there. So it looks like we have one person that has attended the workshop. Really, I'm just trying to gauge what the knowledge is so that I can kind of decide how I'm going to um, present. So like, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. So for those of you who have attended, I'll give a brief overview. I'm not going to go over really the specifics, but I may go over the considerations a little bit detailed since the majority of you have not attended. There's no prerequisite for this at all. I'm just trying to figure out if you've attended. We have a recording. This is being recorded, but we do have recordings of the previous the one previous presentation. I think it's like uh, the one that was a couple of weeks ago. I'll include that in this recording for those of you that did not attend because I think it's good information. But thanks for participating in my poll. Um, this is just a brief definition of what AI is, and I kind of took this from multiple sources. So, definition is the simulation of human intelligence and machines, enabling them to learn. That is the biggest piece. They also have the ability to reason and make decisions, really solve problems, just very similar to the way that humans do. Uh, it's definitely transforming the hiring landscape in a lot of ways. So AI tools have been around for a while. OpenAI has been part of technology probably for the last 2 years, really giving access to everyday users like like maybe yourself and myself. But they're not new to the hiring process. Recruiters and hiring managers have actually been using these tools, like applicant tracking systems specifically, uh, probably for 2 decades, honestly, or longer. Um, it's really a great way for organizations to find candidates fast, quickly, right? They can identify candidates that are the most qualified and can help them with a lot of like the administrative tasks that can really bog down the hiring process. And instead of really focusing on those administration tasks, it's going to allow them to build those connections with those potential candidates that that they can spend a little bit more time doing that rather than doing the screening. So since AI has come onto the scene, there's been a lot of tools that people are creating, and I invite you to explore and know that it is evolving, and really finding the right tool for the job is kind of what I believe is the future of the way that we're using AI in job searching. Um, this These are the important considerations. These are kind of the same that I presented about. I'm not going to go over these in too much detail, but there are some things that I really need to kind of stress, especially to those who haven't really had a lot of time to explore AI. Um, really important. Yes, it's high tech, great, but it really involves a lot of high touch as well. So you want to make sure that you review anything that you're utilizing AI for. You want to have human eyes on it. So we do say, yes, you're using this great technology that is super techy and new and kind of fun, but definitely want to have a lot of human touch in that process as well. And one of the reasons why is because AI is not always accurate. The data that it's drawing from, I mean, it can only be as accurate as the data that it draws from. It's a computer, it's not a human. So there's going to be, sometimes you're going to get things, they call it hallucinate. So AI hallucinations, or basically generating information that doesn't it's not related to what you're trying to get out of it. So that is 100% why you have to have a lot of high touch to it. it. AI is not ever going to replace that, the human element of making sure things are as accurate and as non-biased as they can be. But that being said, AI is biased. So the output that you get from anything that is using this technology is definitely, you got to think about, it's pulling from a data source. And so if it's not it's not going to have all aspects of everything included in it. It's only pulling from the data that it's been trained on. So there can be biases. They can be pulling from information that might not be trustworthy or credible. And really, training data does come from humans, and humans are biased by nature. That's just how we're wired. So that is something that you need to be aware of. And of course, you want to be mindful of the information that you share because it is a machine that's learning. Anything that you're providing it, it's going to use that in its future uses for other users. So best not to share things like your personal information, your phone number, your email address, that kind of stuff. Um, Especially if you're using tools like ChatGPT. or any of the tools that we're going to talk about. All of that is AI, and you want to make sure that you're providing it with information that you don't mind being shared. So that being said, another real important consideration is generative AI is definitely meant to be very, conversational. Like it's not like a Google search. You don't just type one and done. You do want to have this back and forth, similar to how we interact with other humans. We recommend that you start with your own work, but experiment, play with it, honestly. And then just really important to review your materials carefully. So that being said, I'm gonna pull you guys again. I got another question for you. I'm curious, what AI tools have you already been using in your job search? So this is definitely not oops, sorry, I went back too far. All right, little tech issue. So the last one on the bottom there says automated auto apply platforms. There's nothing below that. So we got ChatGPT, that's your OpenAI, and your like Perplexity. Um, lots of people using ChatGPT. I know I certainly do. There are a lot of tools out there for like resume optimization, cover letters, exploratory tools. Those can be things that are helping you maybe look at based on responses, I mean, assessments, that kind of thing. There's a lot of AI tools out there that are designed to really help you figure out what you want to do with your degree or what you want to do as far as a career. Interview prep, like those of you who know about Big Interview, that's what that would be. And the auto apply platforms, it's interesting. I don't see anybody who has used those, but those essentially will apply for jobs for you on your behalf. Tell it what you're looking for, and then it will go out there and just use your resume materials that you provided to automatically apply. Lots of chat GPT. I love that. I mean, chat GPT is something that I use in my daily life, but in the job space, it's an amazing tool. So thank you for playing and responding. I'm going to talk about resume optimization a little bit. I know that folks who've attended my previous one have talked. I mean, I talked about resume optimization. Here are some platforms that you can use. So Big Interview Resume Scan. I'm actually going to give you a demonstration on how to use that tool. And Katie is going to pop these into the chat so that you can, so that you can actually follow along with me if you're interested. But Big Interview Resume Scan, I mean, it's really it's an AI platform for interviewing, but it has so much more than that, and we'll get into that. Resume AI or resume. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's the second bullet point here. That one's okay. My advice is try all of these out. Find the one that works the best for you. I really like Joblytics because it's free, and free is always good when you're looking for a job. But it's a Google Chrome extension. If I have time, I'll actually put that. I'll do a little demonstration at the very end. Wherever you are, whatever job board you're using, you can, with a click of a button, just immediately identify the things that they want to put in your resume, and it'll give you a score. So if I have time, I'll show you that. JobScan is another one that's really great, one that we recommend. It'll allow you to do 3 free scans, but here's a little tip. If you just use a different browser, it'll give you 3 more scans. After that, you have to actually pay a fee. And I've heard that from users who are paying the service that it is a very effective platform. But I'll tell you, I'm gonna show you how to use Big Interview, and this is a service that we provide with your tuition, and get access to Big Interview for your lifetime. So I would start with the stuff that's free. So, and most of the platforms that are out there, they honestly give you a trial period, or they give you some services for free. And then if you want more services, then you would pay. So, the demos that I'm going to be doing are things that you have access to without paying. So we're going to start right in with Big Interview. But my recommendation here, use these AI tools to help you. It's all about making your active job search more efficient, right? So really, really recommend that you use this, and if not one of these things, something to help you, because tailoring your resume is how you're going to get called for interviews. If you're not networking, you need to be tailoring that resume when you're applying to any job that you find on a public job board. So, that being said, I am going to give you a big interview demonstration. So, big interview is a platform that I'm going to pull up my big interview here, and I apologize. So this is big interview, and Katie just put it in the chat. Please follow along. Honestly, you're going to get more out of this if you follow along. When you sign in, and you do have to sign in with your credentials, and you'll have access to this really great platform for free. Now, it's got a lot of great stuff. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you the resume AI feature, and that's up here at the top. So what you'll do, you've got resume templates that are actually from the institution, like the university has provided you with these resume templates. They're the exact same resume templates that you can find on our website, but if you have nothing, you can start by just downloading one of these. They're in alphabetical order. Honestly, the most generic one is the business one. But hopefully you have already kind of like a working resume, right? Usually folks do. And what you'll do is you go to this resume AI tool. Now, a couple of tips here that I want to just share with you. The first one is like you're not going to have it joined by code. I mean, unless your professors or your instructors give you one. We don't use that service yet here in career and professional development. All of it is going to be here where you're going to scan your resume. So what you'll do is you'll click the scan resume, and it's pretty intuitive, but I'll show you what this looks like. Now, when I'm looking at scanning it, the first thing that it's going to say is it's going to ask me to select a scoring guide. Now, this is growing. This is something that we are building out. We just started using this platform in June. So expect that this list will be longer as we develop new scoring guides. But right now, if you have a teacher's college, if you're in the teacher's college, we've got a CE scoring guide and the teacher portfolio, that's for DT. And then we've got an IT resume scoring guide and a professional scoring guide. The professional scoring guide is probably, it's going to be a catch-all. Those are for all the healthcare administration and the business, College of Business. But like I said, we are growing this and expanding this list. So, keep your eye on this and use this frequently. I'm going to select professional scoring guide just for purpose of demonstration. And what you'll see right away, you'll see the scoring guide here, and you can easily remove it if you want to. And right here, it's talking about how it recommends that you add a job description. And I also really encourage you to do that. It's not required. You can certainly just scan your resume and see what you got, but you're going to get the most. The way the AI works is the more specific you are when you're giving it the information, like a job description, the better the results are going to be on, when you get the output. So I highly recommend going and adding job descriptions. This will not have anything in it. So those of you who are following along, you won't see anything. I've added these ones for the purpose of playing around with it, honestly. I think it's kind of fun. But what you'll do is you'll just add a new job description, make a title. If it's a company, then put that in there so that you can refer back to it. And then you have 5,000 characters to paste in that job description. Job descriptions are really your key document in applying for a job. The employer has, in their own words, told them exactly what they're looking for in a candidate. So you want to put that in here, and then you're going to have a lot better of results. So, and then all you do after I'm going to select an existing job description because I've already done the pasting. So I'll select a financial analyst at North Point, and then I would go and hit browse and I would be able to upload. And then here's the thing. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes to get a scanned result. So I've already scanned in a resume, but for those of you that are following along, please play around. It's kind of fun. And while you're waiting for it, I can show you what a scanned document looks like. So we've got Kyle, who is my test student here, and what you're aiming for in this process is gold. Okay, so here I scanned this one this morning. Um, Heck, I'll show you this one because it's gold, and then I'll go back and show you one that needs work. So here, this is an employer relations, which is it's actually a role at WGU, and you can see I've gotten gold. I've submitted it multiple times. I wish I actually still had the first one, but the scoring guide was updated, so I had to update it. But this is what you're looking for. If you have a gold medal, that means that you're putting your best foot forward, and it's going to be very likely that your resume will get into the hands of a human who actually they will actually schedule you for an interview, right? So when you click on the detailed feedback, you'll be able to see you'll be able to see your resume that will populate on the right hand side, as you can see here. And then you'll be able to go through readability, credibility, ATS fit, and format, and actually see some really good feedback. So this is an excellent tool for tailoring. It does take a few minutes to scan and to put in the job description, but I'll tell you, you get pretty good information. Though it is AI, so you still have to really read through it, and you have to also, if you see anything wonky, please let us know because we can report those to the big interview platform. All right, so I'm going to go back to Kyle here. So the main goal is you're trying to get a gold medal, and Kyle, he has a silver medal, which is still great. That just means that he only has a few things to do. So here we are. You can see that there's these red little circle explanation points, and that's the areas that it's going to really encourage us to take a look at. So you can click on these as you see them, and it'll take you right in there. But you can also see where I have gold. So I have a bronze for readability and ATS fit. Credibility is I'm getting there. I'm silver, and then my format is on point. So I'll go to the view detailed feedback so that you can take a look at what this looks like. But I really encourage you to play around with this tool because I think it's a really well, it's nice to have something that is a tool that you're getting the premium service with, like Big Interview, that we're gonna foot the bill there for you. So right away, for this resume, I can see that my summary statement needs some work, and so it, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is how detailed this feedback is. It is saying that my resume summary could actually be more compelling and targeted. So then it gives me some details on how I can improve it. I can quantify, I can tailor it to the job, which is so important, right? That's how we get interviews. Removing my personal hobbies, being more concise. It's talking about this resume is it is deliberately kind of needs work so that we can show you and demonstrate. And it even has like tips on just Kyle has stuff from 1998 because he really wants to let everybody know everything he's been up to for his whole life. And that's not something that is good practice. So anyway, this top box here is going to be the specific feedback that is pertaining to your resume, but these best practices, those are included on every single resume. So these items are universal best practices. You really want to focus on the targeted feedback that you're going to get. But as you can see, it will as AI does, it's going to provide you with some spelling errors, and then it's going to allow you to dismiss. And if you go over to your resume, it's going to highlight in the red where the spelling errors are, which is really nice. And you have the ability to dismiss so that you can, rescan the resume and not have it included in the score. Anyway, lots of good stuff. It catches a lot of things that your friendly career advisors would be able to catch as well. And I would really encourage you to start utilizing this as a tool that you can use for your preparing of resumes. All right, so that's enough with this. I'm going to go back to Big Interview, but for right now, um, I want to move through talking specifically about applicant tracking systems. So I'm going to go through this relatively quick just because for sake of time. But if you don't know what applicant tracking systems are, they're referred to also as ATS systems, and they really are acting as the first round of review that most employers are using. So it's absolutely important to be aware of them and to utilize tools that will allow you to get past the ATS system into the hands of that human. There are two critical things that you really need to think about. One of them is that aesthetics and formatting. Sorry, guys, one second. Aesthetics and formatting can be misread. It will actually sometimes cause problems. I know a previous employer that I worked at, when I would get resumes, sometimes I would just see a big box with an X, and that would indicate that they put a table or something in, and I didn't even get to see what the actual content was because it just shows up as a big square with an X. So you really want to make it as basic as you can, knowing that a computer is going to read it first, and the computer isn't going to know how to read color, how to read graphics, and then also columns and tables and things like that. And then the other thing is that it is scanning for keywords from guess if you guessed job description, you guessed right. It is coming from the job description. It will assign it a matching rate. Usually, that's they're going to take like the top 10% or the top 5% and then give it a human look at it. So most employers are using this. You really want to make sure that you are maximizing and using those keywords so that you can get more invitations for interviewing. Resumes with low match rates are going to not be reviewed by a recruiter. So that's why it's really important that you do tailor it. And we have the really awesome, we get to use AI. Maybe it's Big Interview, maybe it's Joblytics, but find something that works for you so that you can get efficient at tailoring and you can get a lot more interviews. All right. I'm going to pause right there and just check in with Katie. Katie, are there any questions that for the good of the group? Doesn't look like it. Nope. Oops. Doesn't look like it. Oh my goodness. Look what happens when I start doing stuff. What happened to my PowerPoint? All right. We're not at the end yet, folks, but we're going to talk about interviewing now. So in an interviewing, for all right, interview preparation, AI tools are pretty great for that. I will go back to Big Interview in just a moment to show you how to use Big Interview to help you. But ChatGPT, I can't say enough great things about ChatGPT. It's a really great way to generate interview questions and answers. What I like to do is, and I'm not going to show you a demo, but what I like to do is I like to show or I take the job description and I take my resume minus the contact information, and I say, can you generate, a set of questions for a second round interview with a hiring manager and then, three other representatives at the organization. And then I really do put very specific parameters in my prompts because I want to have the most logical. So ChatGPT isn't finding the best answer. It finds what the most likely answer is. And that's important to understand when you're thinking about how it's working. It's not necessarily always going to be, these are the questions, but there's really no way to predict what they're going to ask you when you get in an interview. But I like to just put in the job description. If it's a screening interview, it's very different than a panel interview or your fourth interview. The more specific that you can get with ChatGPT, ChatGPT, and the more you can provide it, like the job description or like the contents of your resume, not your contact information, the better it's going to be in preparing you for that. There's a lot of different places that you can practice with using AI in interviewing. Um, and I'll go over that in just a little bit. But I do want to also say ChatGPT is really great for crafting cover letters too. So I think that if you are um, if you're struggling with getting interviews, having a cover letter, even if they don't ask for one, is a really great way to stand out as an applicant. And I tell you this from my experience as a hiring manager. I have made hiring decisions because somebody has taken the time to write a good tailored cover letter. And keep in mind that the cover letter is also run through the same ATS system, which will help you increase your chances of having a higher match rate. So I always kind of try to encourage people to do that. There are hiring managers that absolutely don't like cover letters, but if it can help you increase your matching rate for ATS, and it can help you really, get the resume looked at, why not take a chance and write a cover letter? Use ChatGPT. I mean, honestly, I have a very basic cover letter, and what I do is I'll paste in my job description from into ChatGPT, and I'll ask it to do a couple of things for me. First, I want it to prioritize in order the top 10 skills that it is that the employer is looking for, and then that saves me the time. I used to back pre AI. I would actually take my I'd actually take my document, the job description, print a physical copy, and then highlight it with my highlighter to figure out what the themes were and how I wanted to address the employer in my cover letter and organize my resume. Now, with the use of ChatGPT, it just makes things a lot more efficient. So I take my basic cover letter and I take my resume, and then I tell ChatGPT, can you help me find the top 10 skills that I can highlight from my resume even, and then I can help craft the cover letter. So to each his own. I'm not going to do a demonstration on a cover letter, but I really encourage you guys to play around with it. Try a generic prompt, and then also try a very specific prompt where you're giving it job description or where you're giving it some real clear direction on how to help you craft. I do want to just show you Big Interview, and I'm showing Big Interview again because it's included in your tuition. So that is why I want to show you things that you have access to, right, that are going to be relevant. But there are a lot of really great tools. LinkedIn is one of them. So if you are on LinkedIn with a free account, use their interviewing AI service. So back to Big Interview here, back to my resume. For interviewing, you're going to go to the interview section, and this isn't so much AI. Honestly, this is more of just it's kind of a recording. Nobody's going to give you feedback using this, but there are tools that will allow you to do so. Um, if you go up to the interview section, so real quick, it has curriculum, so you can actually learn, do courses. It really tries to speak to different learning styles, so you can do video lessons. Um, you could do there's over 170 video lessons, but if you have a scheduled interview, I'd recommend doing the fast track. It will take you through some really good fundamentals on interviewing. But if you don't have an interview and you're actively in a job search, you might consider doing the mastery track. Um, Clearly, I haven't finished either. I kind of bounce around and look in there, but there's some really good stuff, even stuff that's outside of interviewing. So highly recommend that. Mainly what Big Interview has is it has those practice sets already in here, so you don't have to put them into ChatGPT. Now, there's going to be pros and cons for both, right? You can't put a job description in Big Interview, but you can with ChatGPT. So I encourage both. The reason why I like Big Interview is because you can use the recording feature. Um, so there are different banks of questions. extensive library here. One that I'll just call out is the industry. So let's say I am in technology. So I can go to technology questions. And then there are subcategories within the technology. So it gets really specific here. And that's great because you're getting, oh, these are the kinds of questions that I'll get in IT support. So can click on this talking head, and it's split up into usually it's split up into, look at all these AI architect, AI machine learning, all those new jobs that are coming onto the scene. But if you go back up to, like practice sets, for instance, you're going to spend the majority of your time here in this general section because it's going to cover 80% of the interview questions that you're going to get in an interview. So it has standard, challenging, and tough. And I'm going to really call this out, tips and answers section, because if you click on it, it's kind of hidden. Might be even something you overlook. You can actually see these are top 10 questions, and they really are. The infamous "tell me about yourself" question is right here. And if you click on the plus and expand, it's going to show you how they would recommend that you tackle this particular question. So all of these will have, well, not all of them, most of the questions are going to have sample answers. So here are some examples, and here's the structure, who you are, why you're qualified, why you're here. So I really encourage you to look at these because it can be really helpful to understand why are they asking this question so that you can answer it to the best of your ability. You have the ability then to practice with the talking head, or you can build your answer to this question. So the night, for folks that don't want to see themselves on video, I still encourage you to do it. They're private. We're not going to, nobody will have access to this but you with your login. But it'll use your webcam. Obviously, my webcam is being used right now here in this platform, so it's not picking it up. But it'll record you. You hit play. She'll start talking to you, ask you the question, and then you can watch the recording. It is so telling. I don't know if anybody has ever videoed yourself, like in a mock interview setting, or just in general, you are going to catch a lot more of your tells. Like I talk with my hands, and I also talk with my eyes, and I know this because I've watched myself in presentations before. And so in an interview, I try to downplay that because I am very animated, because I know and I'm aware of it, and I know I talk with my hands. I try to put one hand on my, on my leg at all times because it's important to, especially if you're in a virtual area. I feel like using your hands can really show excitement and also help you engage with whoever it is you're chatting with. But I also don't want to come off as like really super animated and very energetic. I want to be professional, and I want to put and anyway, if you've never tried it, please try it. It's very you learn a lot, and you are your best critic, honestly. So watch these. You can even not going to get the feedback here, but you can absolutely send us a recording. Like, let's say you get a really good "tell me about yourself" recording. You can actually go up here, and you can oops, it's still trying to detect my camera. You can go up to your recordings, and you can I don't have any recordings, but if I did have any recordings, you would be able to see them in the platform. Now, this is another feature. You can save your answers, and you can send them to us for feedback, via our email if you want feedback. But you can save, like this is like a a weakness question, and you can actually go through and put in what you want. And this isn't an AI feature, but it's really nice to be able to record your answers like in a recording through the little videos, or just typing them in, because if you're in an interview, you might have an interview and then 2 weeks go by. It's really nice to be able to go back and see what your notes were. What did I do for preparation? What can I look at so I'm not reinventing the wheel, or when something good happens, you can actually plug it into this platform and then have access to it for indefinitely. Anyway, it's a really great platform. I'm going to move on because I could talk more about this. If you haven't tried it, certainly use it. It's really great for interviewing, but it's also really great for the resume scan feature. All right. So now I do want to talk a little bit about job matching. Now, job matching is this is something that it, it's great because I talk to folks all the time and they say things like, I have all these skills, but I don't know what jobs I qualify for, or I don't know what jobs to look for. So absolutely, these platforms can be really helpful, especially if you're like a jack of all trades and you're not really sure what positions you might qualify for. You can use these AI-powered job matching platforms to basically take a look at your skill set. You do an inventory of all the things that you know how to do and all the things that you're great at, and then it will try to find jobs that match your skills and your experiences. So there's a lot of them out there. I'm going to give you an example of career flow, and I'm going to give you a demonstration on it. Um, I We looked at a lot of them, and this one was the best one for the free services that it provides. So you can pay, and I'm only going to show the demonstration on the free service, but the idea behind this is it's going to make your job searching easier, right? Faster and easier. So it it's not, while some of these platforms do allow you to apply for jobs, I really recommend that you don't take advantage of that service. And I'll tell you the reason why. When you get a call for an interview, it's not a good impression if you have no idea what the company is, or what job you applied to. So while it can be really enticing to take that and just be applying for a lot of jobs, you, you really don't you really don't want to get caught off guard. So I would really recommend using these platforms for job matching and then doing the application yourself. But to each is your own. So feel free to use it as you want to. Um, I'm going to show you the career flow, and it doesn't look like I have it up. So I'm just going to pop this in here. Career flow, and it's .ai, and Katie will pop that in there for you. Now, this has a lot of features. So it includes, it has a Chrome extension. So I've downloaded the Chrome extension, and that's really just helping you with your LinkedIn profile. And I'm going to be transparent. I have not looked at the a lot of these things that it does. But one of the things that is on my to-do list, they give you 7 steps to complete, is to have it optimize your LinkedIn. So I can't speak to that. If anybody has tried Career Flow with that feature, feel free to share your experience in the chat. So I really can't speak to its effectiveness. But the idea is you create yourself a profile. And 2 of the things that I really love about this platform, the first one is that, let's see, this is my dashboard. And so you have the job tracker. And I think that an organized job search is always a good thing, especially, if you're applying to a lot of jobs. You can use this job tracker to put down jobs that you've saved, you've applied to, you've interviewed for, and, offer and rejected. So I like to do that because that way, when I get a phone call, I can refer to, I used to do it in Excel. Um, I haven't been in an active job search in a while, but Excel works very similar. This is just all in one space. So I'm going to just call out that this is a really good tracking system, but you can also use Excel. The other thing that it has for your job searching is your job matching is it goes through, and I'm not sure exactly where it is. Maybe it's a paid feature, but these are all the things that it does. And it has the resume builder, which I'll show you in a second. I did do that. I wasn't that impressed with it. I think Big Interview is better, but it might not be a good fit for you. This might be a better fit. So find the one that works for you. Um, it has the skill matching. So this is where it's going to take you to your, like my resume is in here, Kyle, who's an MBA student, and I can use the skill matching to find jobs, and it will take you to, LinkedIn, and also Indeed. And then you can use the autofill, but I would really stress that it's important to know what you're applying to. So I would not recommend that you use the autofill. Even with LinkedIn, a lot of folks tell me, oh, yeah, I apply to jobs all the time on LinkedIn. Don't do that. Better to tailor your resume and go to the company website and apply there. Better yet, if you can find the job on Handshake. You're going to get a lot more success in doing that than doing this autofill feature that a lot of platforms are using. So the skill matching, though, is great on this free platform, but know that it will only give you some features, and then after that, you're going to have to pay to have the better stuff. So the other thing that I would recommend is this, summarizing the job description. This is a cool tool, very similar to what I described with using ChatGPT. You know, sometimes job descriptions are really wordy. If you're trying to apply for 10 jobs a week, that's a lot of reading material, and there's a lot of redundancy in that. So using this to summarize the job description, or you use ChatGPT, things to help you get better, get faster, to still have quality applications using the tools that can help you do things quicker. So most of the platforms that we've come across are free to start, but just like this one, you do have to pay for additional services. So out of all of them, there was another one that they just pulled, honestly, and that one was really good, but they're not taking any more new users. So this is the one that I think is the best for free that I've come across. And I'd invite you to share if you're using any other job matching platforms. Please share in the chat. I'd love to hear from you on what you're using. All right. I'm going to just pause here real quick and a little bit of Q&A. So Grace popped a question in the chat. How does the process work for Handshake over the company job board? Are Handshake applications flagged as preferred? Love that question, Trace. Thank you for popping that in the chat. Really, the way that I would probably tackle that is kind of. Yes, they're kind of flagged as preferred. And the reason why is because if you think about a job board, when people are looking or they're in an active job search, they naturally gravitate to job boards, right? That's what I do. That's what I do naturally. Oh, is this company hiring? Oh, I'm going to look at jobs on LinkedIn. But they only represent about 20% of open jobs at any given time. The other 80% of jobs are actually, people are finding them through networking and for internal, like Handshake. So I always suggest looking on Handshake if you do find a job anywhere on a public job board, because now you're only competing with WGU community. You're not competing with everyone that's on LinkedIn in a public space. So I would say it's not actually flagged as preferred, but you're going to be the competition is way less when you are applying on a private platform such as Handshake rather than applying on LinkedIn. And I always like to go to, if it's not on Handshake, then I would go to the company website. And if the company doesn't have a website, then I might be wondering if it's really a reputable company, because most companies will have at least a website. So likely they'll have a job board. If they don't, then last resort, use LinkedIn, but don't use the one click button to automatically apply and put in your information. Do take the time. Using these tools, it can really make it more efficient. I do get this question a lot, so I'll just let you all know. It's all about quality, right? Quality over quantity. So when you're thinking about applying for a job, it's better to spend 30 minutes. That's kind of like the sweet spot. 30 minutes using these tools to tailor your resume. And if you're using ChatGPT and Big Interview, you should be able to apply for a job within 30 minutes. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. Federal jobs, they want everything besides a blood sample. So that application process will probably have questions and it will take you a lot longer. But your typical job to tailor your resume, and I'm talking cover letter and a resume, shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes with practice. Right away, it might take you an hour, but as you get more familiar with these tools and as you're starting to explore the use of AI in your job search, you're going to get faster. So that would be my suggestion. And, depending on how ambitious you are, set some goals for yourself, right? So, if you're one of those that has applied to hundreds of jobs and you haven't gotten a single interview, it's time to take a look at your strategy, and the quality of your applications. Are you really making it clear? Everything on your resume should be an indication that you are the best candidate for that job. Everything else that you have on your resume, I would probably take off and just make it about letting that employer know that you have all this relevant experience as it's related to the job that they're looking to hire. They don't want to know about all the other things that you're doing. You could save that for the interview, but the whole point is to use AI, use these tools to help you be able to make a quality application so that you can get some traction in your interview. I mean, in your hiring, in your job search. Sorry. And then using AI, you can really, um, especially the Big Interview tool, you can really practice. And there's the more you practice when you're talking in an interview setting, the better you're going to sound, the more confident you're going to be, and the more polished that you're going to come across to those employers. So I did a lot of talking. So feel free to pop in more questions. Um, I do have a couple of just, kind of last closing here. I really would love to hear from you, especially those who have attended, any of our workshops. You can take a picture of that with your Q reader and let us know. We're interested to know what kind of content are you wanting to have us deliver. We're always looking for new material to provide in addition to, the normal stuff, interviewing and resumes. But, take the survey, let us know what you think and what you would like to see us bring to the career space. We've got our website, our YouTube channel, our email again, so careers at wgu, .edu. That is the best way to get in touch with us. You can call us and leave us a voicemail if you're not able to schedule an appointment. We've got drop-in hours as well. Those are really exactly what they are. You drop in, no recording, you come and ask your questions as they come up, and you get an advisor to be able to do that with you. I see certain questions here in the chat, so I'm gonna bring these ones to attention. Could you show us where you found the job matching tool in Big Interview? It's actually not in Big Interview, so it is in Career Flow. So this is the job matching, skills matching tool. So, oh, I know this is not working, and I don't know why. So I put in a inquiry this morning. This was working yesterday, so that's why I didn't do a demo because it's not working. But this is where you're going to find it. So going back here to explore features, and then it is here in skill matching. And I'm hoping they fix it soon because it was working yesterday when I was on there. And that, unfortunately, this is not, CareerFlow is not, they don't have a business relationship with WGU right now. that could change in the future. We're always looking for new tools to provide our students and alumni, but I did let them know that there's a technical issue happening, so hopefully they'll get that addressed soon. And then we've got oh, and then is it best to create multiple resumes based on the position and industry job search? Yes, I think you're yes and no. I have one main resume, and my colleagues would probably like be shocked that I'm going to share this with you, but I have a 7-page resume, and it is everything and anything under the sun that I have on my resume. And then what I do every time I apply for a job, I cherry pick, and I revise, and I make sure the language is matching the job description, and that it's really speaking to the qualifications or the job duties that relate to that job. Most of the time, and I say that most of the time, I can get it down to one page that's really just talking about the job. But I do have a tendency, like when you're in a job search, like let's say you're applying for um, a network specialist, and then you're also applying for a support specialist. They're going to have very similar themes, and you're looking for network specialists. You're probably going to have a network morph into this is my networking resume. This is my web development resume. This is my software development resume. So yeah, sometimes you can have more, or you can end up like me with a 7-page resume that you just cherry pick stuff from as it relates to that particular job. So um, really a resume is your document. It's kind of like a living document that you're just constantly adding to. I mean, I know I do because it's so much easier to take a resume that you're adding to those accomplishments as you're doing them on the job than it is to sit around when you're really needing a job thinking, gosh, what are all the great things that I did over my career? Don't wait until you're in an active job search to be adding to your resume. Do that throughout your career so that you are remembering and recalling all the wonderful things and the great skills that you're bringing. Um, because I've been in so many interviews where people are underselling themselves. And then I look at their resume and I think to myself, like, wow, they didn't even talk about this in their resume. Had I known that, I I might have had them in the first round of interviews, that kind of thing. So do yourself a favor, add to your resume, even when you're working and you're loving your job, because it'll help you in the future. All right. Well, folks, we are out of time. Always a pleasure to have folks engaging with us and, attending our workshops. So thank you for attending. We will go ahead and send you out the recording, and the recording will be probably later on today, but let us know if you have any additional questions, and we'll see you at some of our future events. Thanks, everyone. Bye.